2 days after we came back, I noticed she started running temperature. So while still trying to observe her, though I gave her paracetamol, I noticed she started stooling and vomiting. My names are Mrs Inene Johnson O. I want to share my hygiene experience with you as a mother.
Hello, I am a Proco doctor, and you're welcome to the Hygiene Series, brought to you by Hypo.
Good evening, everybody. My names are Mrs Inene Johnson O. I've been married for 4 years now, and I'm a first-time mom, mother of just one. Okay, I want to share my hygiene experience with you as a mother. So in December last year, my baby was 7 months then. She was crawling and she sucks her fingers too. So we traveled to the village, the village settings and all. So she was playing with other children, crawling and enjoying herself. So we came back to Lagos in January. 2 days after we came back, I noticed she started running temperature. So while still trying to observe her, though I gave her paracetamol, I noticed she started stooling and vomiting. I observed her till the next morning. As a first-time mom, I started making calls. I had to call my neighbor upstairs. So she was like, Nene, this has to do with the baby. You cannot just do self-medication when it has to do with the baby. So take her to the hospital. So I called her doctor, and the doctor said I should bring her to the hospital first thing in the morning, which I did. And as a first-time mom, I was panicking seriously and even crying. So before that morning, a child that had vomited the whole night and stooling, as in I was just changing her diapers from time to time. So before we got to the hospital the next morning, she was already dehydrated and she was very weak. Needed to see my baby that morning. So when we got to the hospital, I was crying and panicking seriously. So the nurses were like, calm down, we'll attend to her. So immediately they administered drip. And I added some medications to the drip and to stop the vomiting and to give her strength too. So she was admitted. We were there for like 3 days. Went to the hospital on a Sunday morning. So first thing Monday morning, they ran some tests on her and they realized she had infection. And the level of the infection was very high. So they gave her some antibiotics and all. So when the doctor called me and he was trying to advise that I know my baby sucks her finger and this period, such thing is expected. Because once they crawl, the finger goes to the mouth, they swallow the. So I should make sure the environment where she stays, especially the area where she crawls, is very clean, and I should try to disinfect and all. So we came back, and since then, I've been trying my best. It's not easy. I've been trying my best to make sure the environment where she plays and all is well clean and well disinfected too. So I will implore every Nigerian mom to try as much as possible to make sure our environments are clean and disinfected, especially because of the kids around. I had this experience where I was staying as a single lady. My next door neighbor lost a child of 4 years due to infection too. The child came back from school, still this stooling and vomiting. And the mistake she made was she had to call all these nurses that house a chemist and all. So the nurses came, gave that child injection and administered some drugs, and the whole thing did not stop. So by the time they rushed that child to General Hospital the next morning, the child had died. And it was still due to, when they did tests and all, it was still due to infection. So please, we have to try as much as possible to disinfect our areas. Use bleach, clean your surfaces, and make sure everywhere is tidy. And by God's grace, as mothers, we will conquer in Jesus' name. God bless mothers, God bless Nigerians. I love you all.
So if you've been following us, you're going to remember that we say one thing. One of the primary ways we interact with our environment is with our hands. And for toddlers, it gets even worse because they are in a process of learning, They're interacting with the environment, they're picking up stuff, they're putting it in their mouth. What does this mean? That they come in contact with more germs than usual. And the more germs they come in contact with, the higher chances of them falling ill. So how do you keep your family safe, especially if you're a parent and you have a toddler in your house? Please ensure that you disinfect your toilets at least every day, and ensure that you disinfect your whole house at least twice a week. This will reduce the amount of infections your children come in contact with, because you always have to remember that your children and your family's safety is in your hands, and it's your responsibility to keep them safe.